Good evening, and welcome to the October 9th meeting of the Georgetown Planning Board. With me is member to my right, furthest right, Bob Watts, Tim Howard, myself, I'm Christopher Rich. I'll be acting as chair in place of Chairman Lacatilia, who is stuck at work. And also absent is Matilda Evangelista, who is MIA. If anyone's seen her, would you please call the town planner? Also seated with us is the town planner, Howard Schneider, and Wendy Beaumont, his assistant, able assistant. Without further ado, the chair will entertain motions concerning the minutes. Is it the September 25th minutes that
Are all set.
they're all set?
The chairman's requested that the minutes of the 18th.
Harry's asked us to hold off on the 18th. He has some further
Right.
iterations.
I saw, I got the email.
Bob, did you have a motion to,
I'd like to move that
that we accept
the
the
board
minutes?
accept the minutes of September 25th.
No,
Yes.
yes, September 25th.
Yeah, I paid attention.
Second that.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
I have none.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda of correspondence, Merrimack Valley Planning Commission pictometry. Howard?
Merrimack Valley Planning Commission has offered us to be part of the pictometry flyover for this year. If you recall, the planning board paid for pictometry last year. And it's my recommendation that the board that we pass on the involving ourselves with the pictometry and the fee for the flyover till next year. There hasn't been that much development to keep track of.
How much is the fee?
Just over $2,000.
Yeah.
We don't have it in our budget for this year either, so.
Well, if we've got everybody out in their backyard waving, could we charge $1 a head? Do we have enough people in town? No. Anyone have any issues with that?
No, I have none. I think that's a good idea.
Next correspondence. I see the next correspondence is from McCarthy and McCarthy.
Yes, sir.
Counselor, are you from McCarthy and McCarthy?
Yeah.
You're also on, you're McCarthy. Gee, that's
good. That's good.
I had a
It doesn't
50%
matter.
chance of
You
being
could've said
right.
Either one, I would have trusted you. You're a
That's
lawyer.
also on under
Old business.
old business.
Right.
Do you mind if we hold off on it?
So is the third item from Town of Georgetown, the zoning district determination.
That has to do with the same thing. That's industrial way, correct?
I'm just gonna.
On industrial way? That's, or is that about the medical marijuana zoning overlay?
The zoning district determination is parcel known as Assessor Map 10 Lot 36. This is gonna be relative to a future application that's gonna come to the board probably at the next meeting. The property owner is seeking A&R for the property.
It's Mr. Tolman's property.
Mr. Tolman's property. So this was a request by Mr. Tolman to the zoning code enforcement officer to determine the proper zoning district designation for his property. So there's some confusion over the maps. It's been determined that it was still in the RC.
Great.
Where's that? Located?
It's near Pingree Farm Road. It's part of the forest.
Okay.
He owns a piece of property in there, and he.
Yeah, the only access to get in there is the fire road. That's, he's got land, but it's no way to get there.
Right.
He's been down this road several
Before.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
He just keeps trying, hoping a new board will grab
Entertain.
it out of the hat.
Well, he'll be back with some drawings. So.
The next on the agenda is public hearing on the bylaw amendment for the solar energy generation. Gentlemen, I might ask that we again continue that for a period of time, or at least until we can get a couple more board members here?
Yeah, I think that's
Anyone
wise.
have a problem with that?
The meeting of the 23rd, we have a public hearing for East Main Street. We can put it on for the 23rd, the first meeting in November.
November 23rd is the first meeting in November?
No, or the next meeting in November,
Oh. What's the wish?
which would be the 13th.
What do we have on for the 13th?
Nothing.
Let's go with the 13th. No time like the present. Need a vote for that?
Yes.
I move that we continue the discussion of the bylaw amendment for solar energy generation until November 13th, 2013.
Thank you.
Second.
God, I'd like being old. It's so frickin' fun.
Do I have to open that hearing first, don't I?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we mark in the minutes, Wendy, that we're opening the public hearing on the solar energy generation bylaw at 7:40. And at 7:43, Mr. Watts made a motion to continue it to the 13th. Tim seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Unanimous.
It's been a hell of a day.
So with that, we will close the hearing at 7:44. We're quick. And it continued to the 13th of November. The
No,
next,
The updated agenda has the Lisa Lane.
that's right, Lisa Lane preliminary subdivision plan. We have an order that needs to be signed?
Well, this is administrative. It doesn't reach out for any conditions on the applicant. It just recognizes that, to the clerk, the preliminary plan has been approved by the board, so they can then file the definitive.
The definitive?
Right. I can just it's a Form D, the board received it in a previous packet. I'll just briefly read. To Janice McRae, Town Clerk, 1 Library Street, regarding Lisa Lane Extension Preliminary Subdivision Application. Assessors Map 16, Lot 2, Lot 17, and Lot 80. It is hereby certified by the Planning Board, Town of Georgetown, that a duly called and properly posted meeting of said Planning Board held on October 9th, 2013, the Planning Board voted, and we'll take the vote, in favor and opposed to approve a preliminary subdivision plan set titled Preliminary Plan Lisa Lane Extension. Originally filed with the Planning Board on April 9th, 2013, concerning property located at rear of Lisa Lane, being Town of Georgetown, Assessor Map 16 Lot 2, Map 16 Lot 80, Map 16 Lot 17, and showing 26 proposed lots with existing lots Lot A and Lot B with the following modifications, and there hasn't been any modifications requested at the board. Sincerely, the Georgetown Planning Board, so we just need to take a vote and sign.
Motion to
Approve the,
approve the preliminary subdivision plan for Lisa Lane.
To approve the plan or the application?
Preliminary.
Okay, preliminary.
Preliminary plan.
Okay.
You're seconding it?
Yeah, yes,
Any discussion?
as long as I understand, thank you very much, as long as I understand that
Yeah.
what we're approving is the submission of this plan.
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
you're approving the application,
Yeah.
the preliminary
Yeah.
plans, and upon that approval for them to proceed.
Yes, absolutely.
With,
Absolutely.
from this date, they have 6 months to file the definitive.
Cool.
Any further discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I'm going to put down here that we voted 3 in favor and 0 opposed. That being done, we're going to move on to old business, which, because we've discussed it at prior meetings. One Industrial Way, rock crushing, Mr. Attorney McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael McCarthy from McCarthy and Wakefield. I represent
Have a seat.
the property owner. Thank you. So I understand there were some prior meetings, and the board, there were some inquiries made relating to the property at One Industrial Way, and specifically the ABC, the recycling operation, which I think is described on your agenda as the rock crushing operation. It's the same thing. And I wasn't at the meetings, but my understanding, as it was related to me, was that there was some concern that the use might have been commenced without, kind of in the middle of the night, so to speak, without proper authority or without the property owner having gone through the proper channels. So,
It was that nobody could find any record of
oh,
it.
I'm sorry. So, in any event, we were happy to provide the records. You can see from the records that the applicant spent a lot of time and a lot of money going to the state for the proper license to commence the ABC operation. There was a site review done, there were site inspections done, there were site plans done. There was a great deal of work put into it, as you can tell from the documentation. The town of Georgetown was involved by and through, at a minimum, its Board of Health, which is what the state required. But I know too that Beals and Thomas, the engineering firm that did the permitting work and the engineering work, and worked with the state and was in the town hall quite a bit and in touch and doing permit reviews. So there was a great amount of work done. You can see that the state did a thorough review. They had issued a notice of technical deficiency where they wanted more information. Beals and Thomas responded to that, and ultimately the state approved it. There were appeal periods, there were comment periods for anybody to get involved in the process. I can't really say firsthand who was involved and who wasn't. Beals and Thomas was point on the permit process. But you can see that a lot of work was done. You can also see from the building inspector, the zoning enforcement officer's correspondence to this board that the applicant went through the proper channels in the town and was told that all they needed was the ABC license from the state. So here we are 6 years later. So we were happy to provide the documents that you requested. We don't really think that, I think this is more of perhaps a zoning enforcement matter than a site, but we're not.
It's not more of a zoning enforcement. A complaint was registered
Yeah, no, we
at one of our
understand.
meetings, and you might want to stick around and
Yeah, sure, I will.
listen to what
We-
listen to what some of the people have to say, and
Absolutely.
before it goes any further, if the
Absolutely.
Carusos can remediate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're here. I mean, we respect the board. You know, we're not throwing up barriers. I just wanted to say the right things, preserve the right rights, because I didn't know the tenor of any.
I'm a retailed attorney.
I know that. Yeah,
I understand what you're doing.
Yeah, but the other comment I would have is, in terms of forums and whatnot, and I checked with Mr. Caruso. We'd be more than happy to talk to the neighbors in any
We're
form
going to
or
hear from them
format.
because I'm going to give them an opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's fine, but I'll certainly listen and take notes, but more than that, I mean, he's happy to meet and talk with them outside, on any basis they'd like, so.
And the only board that I discussed it with Howard that we can think of has jurisdiction over is the Board of Health.
Right.
I sit on the Board of Health.
There you go. Yeah, so, understood. We're not running from anything.
I know that.
Okay.
I just want to add, in that correspondence from the zoning code enforcement officer, he stated that when the permit was coming through the town, another reason why it went over to the Board of Health was that there wasn't a town planner actively involved in the planning office at the time. So it also went down to the Board of Health for
Right.
their oversight.
Yep.
I talked to the Board of Health, and she said that as per the DEP stipulations, the Board of Health has the right to go out and inspect the property, but that was more of a at-will upon request, as opposed to a mandated annual type of review of the
Yeah, I have to say, I'm
DEP.
not sure, but I don't doubt it.
Well, I can tell you that the way we act here in Georgetown, if these people called and had any complaint, we'd be out there lickety-split, just so you know.
Understood.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're here concerning it. What I'm going to ask you to do is, one person speak at a time. You can all speak and say whatever you wish, but when you get up to speak, just give your name and address, please. Or Wendy, I know you signed it. That's only if you jump in and say something somewhere and she recognizes who you are. So who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Henneberry. This is my wife, Barbara. We've been at Hickory Lane for 15 years,
What number, Hickory?
12 Hickory Lane,
Thank you.
and we've been residents of Georgetown almost 30. Our concern, we live in the cul-de-sac, that last house you see going up right there. And when we first moved in, almost 15 years ago, I did a little research. I drove into Caruso and McGovern, and that road you see parallel to 95, it was about probably a quarter of that, a third of that distance at that time. And that was, to us, described, looked at the records, light industry, an industrial garage, contractor's yard, and we were fine with that. We've got a beautiful neighborhood, lovely homes, great neighbors, maintain it. And, but we've noticed that within the last year or two, that there was a lot of sounds coming from that area that frankly, I thought were, well, they're just probably rebuilding their office or their garage or adding a garage. And some days it was really loud. But as of late, especially this year, the found it very loud Monday through Saturday. As early as 6 a.m. at times you'd hear the trucks and the dump trucks. It was only a few weeks ago on a Saturday that I went down to Industrial Way and I saw the sign Georgetown Recycling. And I looked it up and I was rather taken aback at what there was. You know, I wish I was more proactive even a year before. And I found out later that week by doing some research here in the town hall that it was as it said, it was a concrete, asphalt and brick crusher facility where they take debris, I suppose, from contractors that have torn things down, and they're made into concrete, to me it was dirt, which they use for base and contract for construction. I'm not sure, I'm not any expert. All I know is that this spring and this summer, weekdays and Saturdays, the sound of the constant beeping of the trucks, the heavy equipment in reverse, whether dumping or loading, moving equipment around, and especially that crusher conveyor. And Mike, what is that drill or jackhammer machine that you've seen on details? It's extremely loud.
What is it, a track machine, jackhammer, big stone
That's what it sounds like.
drill? That's what it
I
sounds like?
haven't seen it and I haven't gone over there, but I know the sound.
Their procedure is, we're not aware of. That road you saw there, I don't know if they put the debris and moved the portable conveyor belt and the jackhammer. I don't know. All I know is it's extremely loud. Like I said, this year it's been almost a daily occurrence, including Saturdays. And the noise level's invasive and it's pervasive. Quality of life, like I think I mentioned to Mr. Snyder, this was a wonderful place to be, but it goes from a 9.5 to a 0.5. We have to close windows in the back of the house. That Saturday that I just mentioned, we couldn't eat out on the deck because it was so loud, so close. I think they're moving it down that road, I don't know. We have ceilings with fans in them in most of the rooms of the house, so we don't actually use the air conditioning all the time. But this year we find ourselves closing the windows in the back.
And most people refer to that as Georgetown air conditioning because of the nice breeze we have going through town.
There you go, I believe that. And there was another, like my wife just mentioned, and there was a certain vibration, I don't know the mechanics of it, but I said, why is my burner turning on in the summer, late summer? And I'd go down, I said, we have a Superstore heater, and I said, it's not on. And I'd be in my car in the driveway, and you'd feel that, it felt like your burner was running amok. So there was a vibration, and I couldn't place it. The only place I could pinpoint it had to be, I would think, some of the machinery that was over across the way. And I know I've been, I wish we were informed, but I think the regulation or the bylaw says you'd have to, you would inform people within 300 feet of a facility such as that, of any, when you're having a hearing or, and I think we're probably about 450 feet from boundary to boundary. That being said, we also are very aware that this could have a definite adverse impact on property value. It's common sense. And after what so many of us have put into these homes, that would be a travesty. This was a place to raise a family, as we have, and all these young children. They love the town. But this is, like I said, it's making life, when they're in operation, very uncomfortable. And especially the Saturdays. Sunday has become the only day that we can rely on this summer for what we call peace. With that said, it was sort of perplexing to realize that they had there was a permit issued in July of '08 by the DEP for the state. And from what I've gathered, there was no permit issued by the town. Am I correct in that?
I do not believe a permit was required. It was outside of the jurisdiction of the town. It was a state-issued permit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. McCarthy.
So I guess as homeowners and residents of the town, we're seeking to convey our concern and seek some type of remedy. This is affecting all of us. And again, I'll put it back to anybody else want to say anything in regards. Now, even Dana, when you told me you were driving up the street, and because Dana lives around the cul-de-sac, way in the back, you can't even see it in that picture.
Finish that, Dana. Last name?
I'm sorry.
Dana Shuttleworth,
You're 13?
13 Hickory Lane.
Can
Thank
you just
you.
relate what you told me once about when you're coming up the street? Because you're the most furthest away, but you're most further away. But
Actually, I was home all summer pretty much, and the noise was, I'm down the cul-de-sac, my driveway's 800 feet from the end of the cul-de-sac into the woods, and the noise was quite loud all summer long. As you drive down Hickory Lane, I couldn't believe that the noise coming out of the woods. There wasn't any way you could escape it.
it seems to permeate when that's in operation. It permeates our neighborhood, especially the even side of the street, and even as far back as where Dana is at 13 Hickory Lane.
And just recently, there's some other kind of machine in there. It almost feels like the whole ground's shaking. So it's like a sifter, a screener. And that's just in the last week or so.
Probably is a screed.
In the hours of operation, it's probably like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., sometimes later. The banging of the tailgates of the trucks, Saturdays, and like John said, Sunday's the only day it's peaceful down there. What are the bylaws of the town for construction operation like that?
It's a good question. We don't normally, hours of operations for other businesses are usually, like at the building supply.
Those are usually written into decisions.
Yeah, they're written in the decision, and where there's no decision, but
I believe the DEP issued a decision with some
the,
Supervisions, I don't know the answer
some
to the question.
provisions in it. So.
the town of Georgetown has a nuisance bylaw. And a nuisance can not only be noise, but it can be air quality, it can be a number of things. And I'm saying this out loud so Attorney McCarthy can relay it back to his clients. I would be interested in knowing, and I might just take a ride down there, not might, I will take a ride down there and watch, go in and look at the operation and see what,
What does ABC Recycling represent?
Asphalt brick and pit punk, basically, concrete. So they bring it in, they recycle it. I'm no expert. They recycle it and they reprocess and it's recycling, it gets reused. Be happy to talk to you too, about some of the issues.
Leading up before they start doing all the crushing, you can hear the trucks coming in and
Yeah.
stockpiling the
Yeah.
material in the last couple of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
And I'll just add one thing, if I could.
name and
Mark-
address, please.
Mark Hall, 8 Hickory Lane. So I'd just like to reiterate.
Sure, Mr. Hall.
We're the house,
Mhm.
2 doors up from the Hannaberries, and we're fortunate enough to have a pool in the backyard. We live in the backyard during the summer, in the spring and summer. And it seems like there's some sort of a material change in that business, because in the last year, it has gotten unbearable. So as far as quality of life, we were unable to enjoy a lot of the summer due to this. So I just wanted to reiterate, what was being said by our other neighbors.
And to make it clear, it wasn't like that before.
Not to my knowledge, not that we knew. It's happened in the last year and a half.
Was it relatively quiet before?
Yes, oh yes.
I'll just reference for the public that's here as well as the board. Up on the screen, there's pictometry images of the property. This is the road the residents live on. Here's One Industrial Way. This was taken in 2012, and this is the area of storage and the crushing operations.
Do we have any older pictures?
We do. I've got one from 2008, which was, I believe, just after the permit was issued, which shows some storage as well as the storage of the processed material in the processing area, and then going back to before the permit. Paving was just done, but you can see the area is still being used for storage of, I believe to be canisters, containers rather. And so this is before the processing and storage of materials came in.
Can you go back to the newest one for a minute, Howard?
This is 2012.
How much can we blow a section of it up?
Is that the lot line, the red line?
Red lines are the lot lines as recognized by the tax assessor.
Any setbacks on those lot lines?
There are, but the overlay of the aerial to the lot lines aren't accurate to, they're not military accuracy. It may be slightly off by 10 feet, but they're usually pretty close.
Can we shrink it down now can we shrink it so I can see that and Hickory Lane? Does this have any kind of a scale?
No scale.
There's a considerable amount of wetlands in that area where you're pointing right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was ever taken into consideration.
But the first person that spoke, you said you were about 400 feet?
It was.
I was using, when I was using a satellite image such as you have there, and it has at the bottom right or the bottom
Scale.
left, in
Scale.
meters or feet.
Yeah.
I just take a ruler and just try to gauge it. Obviously, I'm not 100% exact, I would think. But I was thinking I was maybe 400, 450 feet from probably the end of that drive there to, my property goes a half acre into the woods, what you're looking at, which I can't do anything on because it's protected. And I understand that was one of the reasons we liked the neighborhood and those regulations. To us, I said it's more woods, more buffer from everything. And, but now, we're in full foliage right now, and soon we will not be. And I can't imagine that sound when everything's in operation getting less, to say the least. And I can only see it getting louder. And I'm just leery of down the line, an operation like this, if it's granted permanency, the business of business is doing business. And it will, I can understand that. But I don't think it's in the right place. Because if it's permanent, it's gonna get bigger and it's gonna get louder. And again, on the aspect of property value, it's only common sense that anyone that would buy a home, Tenney Street, even Acorn Way and Hawk Way, I think you could have a domino theory. If someone has to take a 25% or 30% hit because of someone thinking they're gonna live, should I buy a nice house, but living next door to the baby cousin of Boston Sand and Gravel might not be attractive.
You've had this permit for 6 years, right?
6 years. That's an industrial district that, I point out. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of industrial as of right uses that could be a lot more, say, offensive than what goes on there now. So, with respect to property values, the neighborhood is located next to an industrial district, and this is an industrial use that's being conducted. It's been conducted for six years, and it's properly permitted. So we're willing to talk to you
But light
to try to mitigate.
I thought it was light
It's light
industrial.
industrial, and could somebody provide a definition of what that is?
We'll give you the exact definition.
This permit was issued in '08, but they haven't been.
It was '07.
'07? They haven't been, they just started stockpiling in the last couple of years.
I don't believe that's true.
Their permit,
They're 13 years.
Those older pictures that showed stockpiles back more than 2 years ago.
Well, not like it is now, but.
No.
well, the permit allows them to stockpile both bulk and processed materials, but up to a certain, I think it's 1,000 tons of processed material.
Yeah, the
So
permit speaks for itself. I really don't want to get into a debate on the.
But I think it's the
I'm
processing.
not asking you to get in a debate, I'm just asking you to listen, so.
It may be the processing of the material that's the issue. That may be the change. The question is, if it's zoned for light industrial, and now they're using it for heavy industrial, then it seems there's an issue.
The correspondence from the building inspector that I have says that permit by the DEP of the state was issued July of 2008. I've got a copy of it if you need.
Just give me 2 seconds, I just want to read something here.
I don't have the copy of the zoning code enforcement officer's letter, but I believe he states in it that the rock crushing operation is allowed in the zone. He didn't say that it was in conflict with the zone. But I can look into that.
Is that the letter I just mentioned?
I would also point out the use is permitted by state regulation,
Okay.
so it's not so much a use issue. state regulation is superseded.
Well,
But
does somebody have a definition of light industrial?
Are you pulling it
Well,
up?
we gotta be careful because it's an industrial B zone, which allows light industry in it, but is not, industrial B just isn't exclusive to light industry.
Okay. And-
So light industry is defined as fabrication, assembly, processing, finishing work or packaging in such a manner that noise, dust, odor, vibration, and similar objectionable features are confined to the premises. But that is
That's,
just the definition of light industry.
okay. So what's the definition of, what's the next, I mean,
I don't know what
do we,
the zoning code enforcement officer determined this use to be in terms of if it's heavy industry or manufacturing.
but isn't that area zoned for light industry?
The gray area right
Yes.
here, where we're discussing that right here is industrial way. That gray area right here is industrial B, which allows light industry uses in it.
And if the noise or other issues go beyond the premises, which this is what we're talking about, then that would be an issue, correct?
Correct, as it would be in any zone.
Correct.
May I just, again, I don't want to beat a horse, but that letter from the building inspector and zoning enforcement officer dated August 22nd to Mr. Snyder, basically says in early 2008, Caruso and McGovern hired the engineering firm of Beals and Thomas to assist in obtaining all necessary permits to operate an asphalt, brick, and concrete recycling operation on their industrial zone property. The property was already in use as a contractor's yard with a mixed industrial garage and office building constructed in 1997. A DEP permit to operate an ABC recycling operation was issued in July 2008.
I think that's a typo.
Is that wrong?
I think it's a typo.
I think I'm looking at one that looks like it was issued in 2007.
July 10th, 2007?
Right, that's
Right.
the
July
last one.
10th, 2007.
Yeah. Can you, Mr. McCarthy, can you certify that it's operating within the capacity constraints of the decision? Maximum of 200 tons a day and average?
I have two answers to you, Mr. Watts. One is that I'm not an expert, so I can't. And number two, this isn't the proper place or jurisdiction or forum for me to answer questions relating to the application. But I can't anyway. But that's what I want to be careful about, Mr. Chairman. We're here to provide the documents. We're here to respect the board and the abutters and to listen to them. But this is not the proper place for a public hearing on this.
This is not a public
Well,
hearing.
that's why I don't want to get into questions on
Or whether it's operating
Well,
within
yeah,
the town?
on the details of the permit. This isn't the proper forum for it. Respectfully.
Well, I'm wondering about the operation.
I
not so much
honestly,
the-
I don't know.
I
But
see a
I'm.
number
Can
here.
you
and-
take it as an action item and get back to the board member?
No,
Okay,
no.
very good.
No.
Well,
Jurisdiction.
Well, right, it's a jurisdictional issue, and we'll respect proper jurisdiction. I just don't want to go, you can appreciate this, I just don't want to go in the wrong
I
direction
understand,
or the wrong
I
place.
understand what you're saying,
And
but
we-
your clients, I hope, understand that I'm sure when these people are gonna go home, the first call they're gonna do is to the Board of Health.
That's fine, and I hope their second call would be to me or to Mr. Caruso, or I'll call them if it's appropriate and proper. A lot of the, hopefully some of the stuff they're talking about, we can deal with.
Let me ask you this question.
Yep,
You think your clients would be willing to have some sort of
Sound mitigation?
a meeting with the?
oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you'd like, we'll help you find a room, even if you want to have it somewhere here in Town Hall, to sit down and chat with the,
But Mr. Caruso, that's, he's.
Mr. Caruso.
I'll be happy to be there too, he's the guy I want to talk to.
and if you want, I'll be happy to volunteer my time to come in and play referee or moderator, whatever.
He's the guy running the operation, so you don't like him, I get that. But he's a pretty reasonable guy. And I can't say he'll agree on everything, but he's a pretty reasonable guy. And he's not a guy.
Stephen?
Steve, he's not, He's, and I have permission to say that, you know, specifically, that, not that he's a reasonable guy, but that he's willing to meet and talk to you. You know, and he's a businessman, like you said.
I understand that. What's that?
But he's not, you know, he is, you know, I represent a lot of developers that actually have had some business up here before that was kind of difficult and long, but as far as clients go, he's, you know, he's a guy you can talk to.
Is that the one downtown?
Yeah, 102 Pond Street.
Oh,
40B.
Wasn't he part owner of the Georgetown Grill Pub at one time?
Oh, Stephen? Oh, the other guy.
Stephen.
He might have been. I wasn't involved in that. I was involved in the 40B at 102 Pond Street. That went on for a few years. I think till he was.
But just so that you folks in the audience, that's only one avenue that you have. My best advice is to start there, because if you solve your problems there, then it ends. And, you know, a victory is if you're satisfied, they're satisfied, and nobody's thrilled. You know, if you can get the mitigation that you're looking for, and you know, hold Mr. Caruso's foot to the fire if you do get that. You know, if things get out of hand, have a number where you can call and let them know. Take pictures, record things, so you can say, this is what it was like. Because I know this board likes to see everybody in the neighborhoods, especially the residents. And this is a very expensive town to live in. You know, get their money's worth for living in town. It is a great place.
So I'll give you my number if anybody wants it, or if you want to give me your numbers if you want to set something up, or you can work through the chair.
There's another way.
you can
Call
give the
Mr.
information
McCarthy.
to
Every
me
time
and-
he gets a call from his client, it's gonna cost his client money.
Counselor, what's,
That'll get his attention.
Wakefield.
We're in Wakefield, by the way.
1 Center Street, CENTRE Street.
Main?
Suite 205. Yeah, it's right on Main Street, yeah. So the number is 781-246, just live, 4647.
246-4647?
Yes,
You're 781 down there.
correct, yep. Yep.
And I think we're happy to talk to whomever, right? We don't have any issues with personalities or anything.
Yep.
We have an issue that, you know, we'd like addressed. We thought the best place to do that was through the town, because if there are violations of zoning law, then we would hope that the town would step forward and you know, do the right thing. We're certainly happy to talk to, you know,
Yeah, and our perspective is there are absolutely no violations of any local ordinance, but that's our position, you can have yours. But nonetheless, we're happy, he's you know, he's happy to meet with you, it's kind of the way he operates, so.
So you're saying that there's no noise?
Oh, well, I mean, no, I don't wanna, yeah, I don't wanna.
If I can, Mr. McCarthy, let me interrupt you there. Mr. McCarthy, as the attorney for Caruso, is not going to admit to anything other than their name is Caruso.
And his address and phone number.
You know, he's not going to say there is noise. He's not going to agree that there isn't.
Which leads us to believe that we may be
You may
coming
be.
back to this board.
You may be.
You may be. I mean,
Because
is it-
if this gentleman is sitting in front of us right now saying there are no violations, then what do you think the other guys
what
would
he's
say?
saying is there are no violations under the conditions that he knows of, to the conditions that are in the DEP order, to hit the best of his knowledge.
What I would add is that, notwithstanding that, Mr. Crusoe's kind of MO is to try to work with people, not to work against them. So that's what I was going with.
Great, great.
In your fiduciary capacity, I understand that you have to represent your client, and that's what you do. You can't say, well, he shouldn't have done this, that's not gonna happen. But as he is your client, try to phrase this, would you say, you said he's a regular guy. Has he had a history of working with abutters for different reasons besides noise and other? I mean, will he?
I've represented him for a number of years. I could, 5, 6, 7. I'm not sure how many, but I can tell you that uniformly he tries to work with people. So I think you'll find that. I mean, I don't promise that you'll reach agreement on everything, but I think you'll find a guy who'll listen and talk to you and try to address your concerns. And that, you know, you can, you know.
And you will
take a shot
convey
at
to
that.
him the concerns that the
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
people in Hickory Lane have had.
Yeah, in detail.
And, very good.
So can I just ask another question?
Surely.
Assuming, I mean, it sounds like we're assuming that it's a foregone conclusion that, this business is properly zoned and licensed to continue doing what they're doing, according to the attorney here.
According
Does
to what the building inspector, who's the zoning enforcement officer,
Right, so what?
I believe his letter says that it's not violating any zoning.
Right, so what recourse, if any, would the town have to make that change?
We're not gonna change, I don't think the town would be,
To change the zoning?
Yeah, to change the use, the.
Even if the town were to change the zone, the current use in that zone would be grandfathered.
Invested property rights, yeah.
but, as I told you earlier, there's nuisance bylaw, there's a number of ways. If you look at the DEP decision, the easy out is the safety, welfare, public health, safety, and welfare. Have to,
Is that
any
something
issues,
that the town would enforce? I'm sorry for.
no, it's DEP's the state.
Okay, so
But
I
the
would
town-
have to go to the state?
No, you can report it to the town, you can report it to the Board of Health, and let me just, I'm sorry for the pregnant pause, but, you can report it to the Board of Health, and the ladies there, Deb Rogers and Deborah and Ginger, would pick it up from there and find out exactly what your complaints are. If it needed any kind of a hearing before the board, they would notify all parties and bring them in. It would be discussed, you know, but that could be a lengthy process. Some attorneys are litigators. Some attorneys like to prolong things. I know Mr. McCarthy's reputation. We're both civil litigators, and we made money the faster we got the issue resolved and on to the next one. And that's why, to me, time is very important. I'm trying to get you, the sooner you can sit down with him, the sooner you will know what your next step is, or if there is gonna be a next step.
Okay, I understand.
But there is, here it is. Mass DEP shall be notified within 24 hours of any incidents that occur at the facility that could affect the public health, safety, environment, or operations of the facility. Public health, safety, and environment includes noise, air quality, you know, and if you have an issue with that, it should be reported, start with the Georgetown Board of Health.
Does that include mental health?
We'd all be in serious trouble.
Could be.
But and it's a legal theory. In order to have a mental health, there has to be something that's more tangible than that,
I'm not gonna-
that triggers the mental
Diagnosis.
health, if you will, like air quality, the noise.
So you've got Mr. McCarthy's contact
Then you
information.
should avoid it.
You've got the Board of Health, and you've got the Department of Environmental Protection. And with the correspondence coming into the planning board, I can certainly help you along with answering any questions too,
Yeah,
whether it be
if-
contact or whatever, so.
Okay, thank you.
And just so you folks know, the planning board, at least I think my colleagues and even the absent colleagues, when somebody from town comes with us with a complaint about something, if it's remotely related to what we do, until someone tells us, like Mr. McCarthy aptly stated, it's not your jurisdiction, we take jurisdiction and we try and get it moving.
Oh, you gotta move.
Attorney McCarthy, thank you so much for
Sir.
coming.
Thank
I
you.
just have one more question. Does the Department of Public Health set the hours for operation as well for
The
recycling?
hours of operation, as I understand it, for the use on the site was determined through the DEP.
Oh, DEP.
Right. The Board of Health is involved more for the understanding any noxious impacts on abutting properties or the town in general.
You know, that's something when you get Mr. Caruso's undivided attention, talk to him. I mean, I do know a little bit about Stephen Caruso, being a contractor's kid and having been in the construction equipment business long before I went to law school. The last thing he'll want is to have the people around him angry at him. And I have seen on other projects that he's done that he does listen. And he had a project in Saugus that was adjacent to some property that my family has an interest in. And he listened intently and followed through with most of his promises, and gave his reasons why he couldn't afford to do what some other people had asked him to do. So if you were to ask me if I would describe him as a reasonable person, more reasonable than most, and it would be worth the time, I think, to sit down and chat with him. You may get a lot further than you think.
And you might get a real mitigation agreement that would satisfy a little bit, but generally.
You know, you say something to him like, if you lived in this neighborhood, would you want to hear that machine in your backyard at 8, 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning?
So what were the hours that were, that the DEP,
There are no hours stated in their decision.
you don't have?
So there must be some overriding bylaw then.
Because,
There
I
must be a
mean, 24
standard.
hours a day, that can't be.
I haven't,
Would the Board of Health be able to?
That the allowance for operation hours, unless it's written by the board on a decision, is outside the planning board's jurisdiction when it comes to other parts of the town code. So that'll take some research to find, but I don't think the planning board can sit here and start interpreting hours that.
But it would be
an
something
operation-
that could be found in the bylaws.
In the bylaws somewhere, it's just, I think, beyond the knowledge of the board.
The town bylaws are online.
Yeah.
And you can do a search on hours of operation or
It's gotta
something
be
like
there,
that and
right?
grab it, yeah.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't some.
Yeah, sometimes do and sometimes don't.
Would
I don't
it be
know.
inappropriate
No,
for you
not-
to give them a copy of what we have?
That if they make a request, I can send it to them.
how's this?
Is that the DEP,
All the documentation.
You can't have my cover sheet, but you can have everything after it, because everything else is,
Yeah,
the whole thing is, but I'm writing my notes on the cover sheet.
okay.
Would you be kind enough to give that to whomever would like to be,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome very much. There's nothing else that's in there that's,
Thank you.
Okay, what's your first name?
that's not public record, is there?
What's that?
It's
No,
not.
but I just, why give them
You can give them a soft copy.
miscellaneous?
Can you give them a soft copy of it, of this?
Well, I wanted to make sure they had your home phone number there.
All the details. of
Now,
their
don't forget what I
background.
said, if you have an issue and you call Mr. McCarthy, every time his phone rings and it has to do with that client's gonna get a bill.
I'm sure you can.
And that's the best way to get somebody's
Get a
attention.
billing hour after 2 minutes?
My torts professor taught me that in law school. When you wanna get someone's attention, you hit them in the wallet.
Gets my attention.
Howard's gonna give you everything that pertains to this. And if you need any more,
Here's the copy I knew.
you know, go easy on the town budget, comes out of our budget, all this copy paper.
We put it to multiple use.
But with what you folks pay in taxes, kill as many trees as you wish.
Take it away, give it to your
Thank you for the acknowledgement.
We get 6 copies?
Well, I have the dubious distinction of being the single largest residential real estate taxpayer in the town, so you can imagine what mine are. I have no children in school. My rubbish doesn't get picked up. So,
And your water smells.
yeah, my water smells. And I'm on the Board of Health, and the water
Do
smells.
you live in Georgetown?
You know that yellow
The barn.
The barn next to the country club?
Yeah.
West Street.
That's my house.
Oh, okay.
No picketing,
Okay, all right.
but stop in any time. The coffee's always on.
Great, thank you.
Is that the historic site on the bend, on the corner? Going up.
It's right right next to the entrance to the country club. There's a big yellow barn.
Oh, all right. Is that,
I built it from scratch.
oh, all right.
It looks like a barn.
Thank you very much.
I do have a historical marker in it, but it says in 1897 on this site, nothing happened.
There you go.
It's the only spot in town.
Anything else on the industrial way? So
I just
have these people cost your client a lot of money so far?
Speak slowly.
As you can see, Mr. McCarthy said, no rush to leave.
The, that July 2007 versus the July 2008 correspondence that I have, is that in there?
Yes, you'll see the date on
That
it.
is 2007.
It's quite clear.
The correspondence from the John Mativier saying that he reviewed industrial way and they're within regulations and all
It's
that.
in the packet that the board reviewed, it's in there.
It's in
That's,
there.
okay, that's all.
It's all there.
Everything was got.
If you have any other questions about anything, feel free to call Howard. And my phone number's listed. I'm not hiding anywhere.
Oh, we know where you live.
You know where I live, and I'm at Jimmy K's every morning at 7 o'clock having coffee, so.
And you did commit to going down and seeing the site.
Oh, I'll be there.
Thank
You
you.
can
When they
come-
don't expect me, because it says the Board of Health can go in there anytime they want.
You can come over to Hickory Lane and hear it from
Well,
our
make,
vantage point.
make sure they turn on everything they've got. The way-
Yeah, give us some notice, we'll make sure.
Yeah.
Canterbury, they won't even know I'm around.
The Phantom.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your input.
Thank you very much.
We'll be in touch.
Attorney McCarthy, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Safe trip back to Wakefield.
Thank you.
You can pay your toll on the way out of
Yeah,
town.
all right.
Only if you're on West Street.
You wanna go up the front?
Mr. Henchliff,
This, yeah.
I'm sorry, you've been waiting here all this time to volunteer.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We'll be in touch. Because there's some other questions I'd like to ask.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
The selectman's office received a request from a Georgetown resident of his willingness to be on the Capital Improvements Program Committee. And the planning board was seeking somebody to appoint to that committee. And he's here tonight to, as per the last meeting where the requested he come in and just meet with the board, so.
Hello. In 33 seconds, tell us everything we don't want to know about you.
Excellent. My name is Michael Hinchliff. My wife, my daughter, and I have actually been in town for probably the last 7 months or so and just looking to get involved. I joined FinCom, I guess, starting their last meeting, and it came up that the, I guess, capital improvements, there was a spot available from the FinCom side, but then two of us said we were interested, and I guess they're putting me kind of in the planning board. I guess you guys have a spot as well. Mostly looking to sort of get knee deep and figure out how the town works and do what I can. I saw the TV posting, I guess over the summer, that they were looking for people, and I have time.
Are you the FinCom's representative to CIP?
I'm not.
You're
no.
not.
And I believe two of us expressed interest, and I believe FinCom is going with the other one, which is, I'm assuming, because I didn't specifically reach out to the planning board for this, so I'm assuming that Sandy or someone over on FinCom, I guess, put me in touch with you about the appointment.
Well,
So,
I
don't know, I guess I don't know
in
if
a
the
very
timing's-
roundabout way, the planning board has to make an appointment to the CIP, and they haven't, the CIP has not been active very much in the last few years, but they're gonna become more active because they actually have some funds that they can start applying. So, it's good that you stepped forward.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to. I would like to be certainly involved and let me know. I mean, if there are any
You
questions.
have a
or-
background in finance, or?
I do. I was in nonprofit corporate finance back in New Jersey before we moved, and then running a civics education organization, and now I'm in doing real estate as well, which is sort of finance. But the short answer is yes.
Where in Jersey are you from?
Somerville, North.
My wife and I are from Lake Patcon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I did my tour in Bergen County, so.
Oh. I grew up in Chatham, if that,
Sure.
in Morris County. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Any questions, Tony?
No.
Sound good to me.
Is that a
I
motion?
just want to recognize the fact that somebody's coming forward to volunteer.
We also have
there,
we
yeah.
also have a slot on the personnel board that's open.
there are several. If I understand, I'm interested.
Right now, they only have a chairman. Oh, that's me.
Noted.
And that's a fun board.
With
do go
you
to all your
alone.
own-
Yes, I bet
We have meetings in the nicest places.
With that, Chris, it's off Broadway, but when he's there, it's a Broadway show, right?
So,
You just need to make a motion to recognize
I'd like to
Michael as the appointment
move to appoint Michael to the Capital Improvement Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Now's your time. If you want to run for the door, go for it.
Can I ask a question?
You certainly may.
I guess more procedural. Being the planning board appointment to the CIP, what relationship, if any, would I have with all of you?
You want to be on the planning board?
That's not what I was asking. Again, not out of the
Anything
question,
that goes
but
before CIP that remotely affects the planning
That
board,
may, yeah.
advise us of what's going on.
Okay.
Do it by email. Ask us what the board's thoughts are.
Okay.
Or if you'd really like to be an alternate on the planning board, you can sit in the meetings.
As you can tell, it's a fun group.
It seems like a fun group.
It could be as simple as going with what Chris said. I don't think it's going to be meeting once a month, but when you do meet, take some notes, send an email. We can include it in correspondence, and if the board members wish to hear some more, we'll invite you in. Maybe it's a once a year summary or quarterly summary with the board, but specific to what Chris said, if there's things that come up relative to planning activity in some way, let us know, and we'll certainly give some feedback to what to do.
Or if we could be of any help with, and I believe the CIP is like the personnel board, where we meet at the call of the chair. If there's something that has to be discussed, the chair contacts the members and arrange a date to meet.
Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
You realize this is an appointment for life.
Actually, that's a fair question.
It's
What is-
annually it gets
It is
reappointed.
annual. Okay. A worthy question that I should have asked before, but
But there's,
Hotel California.
the competition for the positions has not been to the
Intense.
point where people are jumping off bridges because they didn't make it.
which is frankly why I decided now is the right time to make the
Thank
leap
you very
myself.
much for wanting to get involved with Georgetown.
Absolutely. It's been. I haven't been here long, but love it so far. So
Well, okay. so-
I'm the junior member of this board, and it has been an education in just town governance and the organizational principles behind local government.
Okay.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
excellent. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to find out how it works. So
Well, I'm sure
Bit by
that
bit.
your experience with FinCom is similar. I mean, it's, you know, you're not gonna get the big bucks sitting behind this chair, you know.
fair enough.
It's a great way to learn. Go to town meeting. At least you're going to be there as a FinCom member anyways. And all of your friends and neighbors, encourage them to go to town meeting. We have an open town meeting in Georgetown.
It's rare.
And
It's rare in the world.
I have a philosophy in life. If you don't go to town meeting,
Put your
you
one.
have a complaint about what's going on in town,
Shut up.
I
yeah.
wholeheartedly
you know,
agree.
It's, you lost your privilege to, or your right to exercise that opinion.
One particular resident shows up at the town meetings that make it not pleasant for other people by babbling.
Yeah, but it's a show.
It's entertaining, if nothing else. He's a smart man, too.
I know he
Pain
is.
in the ass, but he's a smart man.
But again, if I may call you Michael,
Absolutely.
you know, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for volunteering.
Thank you. Thank you
I'm
for
sure I
having me.
speak for the whole board. And if you have any questions, this is the easy part. Ask him.
Ask me. I'll be the messenger.
He's a
Fair
resident smart person.
Smart
All
aleck.
Smart Howard. Wait a minute, you're a smart Howard, too, yeah, all right.
Any other business
I
from my
move we adjourn.
colleagues? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any discussion? Thanks, Michael. All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned earlier than Chairman Lecatilia has ever adjourned. It is.
And we also started at 7:30.
Yeah, could it be a coincidence? I don't think so.
We're adjourned at,